Good afternoon, folks. I hope everyone is safe and doing great during this horrible pandemic time. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Warren Bennis. Today, me, Gabriel Maya, and Andres Vargas are going to discuss the book On Becoming a Leader written by Warren Bennis. But before going deep into the book, I'd like to share a little background of the author, okay? So, Warren Bennis was born in the Bronx, New York, on March of 1925. He received a bachelor's degree from Antioch College in Ohio in 1951 and also got a doctorate in economics from MIT. As an educator, he taught organizational studies at Harvard University, Boston University, and the MIT Sloan School of Management. Besides that, he was also a professor of business administration at the University of Southern California for over 30 years and wrote more than 40 books. One of them being On Becoming a Leader, which we're discussing today. On Becoming a Leader was translated into 21 languages. That's a very, very, very well-known book. Unfortunately, Bennis passed away on July 31st of 2014 in California at the age of 89. In summary, the book is based on personal growth, expressiveness, leading, and integrity, based on lots of interviews with different leaders that Bennis were able to make. Doing his research, Bennis noticed that leaders mainly try to express themselves properly instead of leading others. They embrace the risks and mistakes, take the blame and share the credit. The good leaders inspire others to follow them without much effort. Another good point that the book brings out is that leaders transform companies into communities and help others to achieve their best, not only professionally, but also personally. Now diving into the book, I'd like to state that the first edition of this book was written in 1989, and to this date, is still a success. That goes to show how good of a masterpiece this book is. At the very first section of the book, which is called Mastering the Context, Bennis mainly sets out three main reasons why leaders are important. The first main reason, Warren Bennis states that leaders, open quote, are responsible for the effectiveness of an organization, close quote, meaning that the organization will mainly rely on their leader in order to be a successful organization. According to Warren Bennis, the second main reason leaders are important is because the world is always going through different stages. It's like a roller coaster. It has ups and downs. And leaders are there to support and make us push through. Last but definitely not least, the third main reason leaders are important is because they are able to restore integrity and trust, even though we are living in an area of selfishness, corruption, and disgrace. As in chapter 2, he sets out how it is important to understand the basics. For instance, the basic ingredients that leaders share. Bennis states that yet leaders are very different and comes in like every size, shape, and mindset. It seems that they all share something in common. Those things being guiding vision, passion, integrity, trust, curiosity, and daring. Besides all that, on the same chapter, Benny shares a list of differences between leaders and managers. Open quote, he said, "Leaders are an original. Manager is a copy." Close quote. Open quote. "The manager administers. The leader innovates." Close quote. "The manager relies on control, while the leader inspires trust." Even though he stated those differences between leaders and managers, Bennis believed that leaders are made rather than born. That's a very known phrase that he said. And he also said that today's educational system is more focused on creating managers rather than leaders. As reading through the book, Warren Bennis presents the importance of self-knowledge for potential leaders. Bennis lists a few important steps in order to improve self-knowledge. Those being, be your own best teacher, accept responsibility, learn what we've set out to learn. This is very important. Share credit, understand ourselves, through reflection, which, according to Benny's on page 57, can be done by asking the questions at the right time in order to discover ourselves. Those questions are what really happened? Why did it happen? Why did it to me? And also, what did it mean to me? Benny stated, and I also agree, that leaders will only be respected and successful when they get to learn themselves, their strengths and their weaknesses. I believe that a leader will always learn themselves before being able to learn and help others. Another topic that Benny's covered, which I was pretty surprised and also happy about it, is that learning through adversity increases our leadership abilities. I was happy because I have once taken a world religion class, which at a time even my advisor said it was pretty useless class, and I did it anyways, and it ended up not being that useless. Once I have learned tons of other cultures and religions that made me understand people better. As a matter of fact, I made a bunch of friends and connections as well, business connections. Once people were really surprised I knew about their culture and also about their religion. Before handing the presentation to my classmate, Andres, I'd like to share my opinion about the book. At very first, to be honest, I really didn't like the book. I thought it would be very boring and biased because the author was basing his statements on politics and past presidents. And I believe that politics really changes based on someone's beliefs and points of views. However, as I read the book, I really ended up liking it because Benny shared real life problems, real life scenarios, real life leaders, and that made the book really, really interesting and with really, really good content to acquire.
Deploying yourself, strike hard, try everything. To be a true leader, you really need to know yourself. Great majority of times we know what is best, but we do not let ourselves emerge. We sometimes need to stop and listen to the impulse voices in our minds. Something that was very interesting to me while I was reading this chapter of deploying yourself, strike hard, try everything, is how we sometimes let our fears get between us and great opportunities that come up, either professional or personal. We let bad experiences from the past overtake our confidence and tranquility to keep moving forward with the opportunity that came up. We need to learn from our bad experiences and leave them as a lesson. Leadership is also a way of managing our life. It demands our own vision to accomplish our challenges as bad times come up. The main idea the Warren Bennis wants to leave us are reflection and resolution, perspective, test, and measures. Those are very important for leaders and coming up leaders to understand. We have to reflect on things to actually understand the situation we're going through. Perspective gives us vision from different angles to make a rational decision. Test and measure let us know and find out what our capacities and abilities are. Leaders never stop learning. Moving through chaos. Crisis is often where great leaders are formed. Moving through chaos, you should learn from bad experiences rather than being defeated by it. Leaders must be intuitive, conceptual, synthesizing, and artistic. Leaders learn best by leading in the face of obstacles. This is where the artistic and the vision comes through for leaders. They have to come up with a vision and take their team through those difficult times. Bad experiences either knocks you out or makes you become a better and bigger person. Everywhere you trip is where the treasure lies. You should always pick up something from the times that you fall. Leaders learn from valuable lessons from difficult bosses, some even from bad bosses. Bad bosses will teach you what not to do. Difficult bosses that are challenging, picky, arrogant, and intimidating, but can also be inspiring and provide vision. If you're a strong person, you can learn a lot from bad bosses. Getting people on your side. You can get people on your side through fear, guilt, or by obligation, but you are only creating obedience with a lot of drag and backwash. Having empathy for the people you work with, bring in loyalty and trust for them. A way of getting people on your side is through giving inspiration, constancy, congruity, reliability, integrity. When these four factors are in place, people will be on your side. Leaders take charge without taking control. Leaders must inspire their people, not order them. Leading through voice, inspiring through trust and empathy does more than get people on your side. It can change the climate enough to give people room to do the right things. Great leaders make their organization function as a community rather than hierarchy. Forging the future. The world around us is always changing, and so are ways of working. Required skills for leaders now would not be the same 10 years from now. The leaders of the future will be those who take the next step to change the culture. This is why it's important to be innovative. Here are some factors that will definitely still be needed for leaders years from now. Leaders manage the dream. The task of the leader is to define the mission, create the vision, and then translate that vision into reality. Leaders should embrace error. This creates a climate in which risk taking is encouraged. Leaders should also encourage reflective backtalk. Leaders know the importance of having someone in their lives who will be unfailingly and fearless to tell them the truth. They need to hear a response to what they say. This usually comes from their spouse. It's reflective because it allows the leader to learn, to find out more about him or herself. Leaders should encourage dissent. Leaders need people around them to have contrary views, who can tell them the difference between what is expected and what is really going on in the organization. This is important because tragedies of most organizations is that people will let leaders make mistakes, even where they themselves know better. As a leader, encourage dissent by blending in with your staff. Sit down in a room with them. Talk ideas out for the better of the organization. Usually, your frontline employees know what's best for the organization and can provide you better ideas. Leaders possess the noble factor optimism, faith, and hope. Optimism and hope provide choices for employees. Leaders create a strategic alliances and partnerships. This is very crucial to the success of an organization. This book definitely inspires you to become a better version of yourself, help you see situations differently, and guide you to become a better leader of tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, guys.